It seems that the future does not bode well for Felarca. Felarca trial update 9/11. WTF. Throughout this video, you may see images of animations in progress of Tabby and I by Tiberius Maximus. See his YouTube channel, Tiberius Maximus. See the links below. It's highly recommended. Guess what, Tabby?
What?
Felarca and comrades, their trial has been moved again.
Color me not shocked.
Yeah, you're not surprised, are you? Well, yeah, you know, that seems to be the theme of this video, as we'll see. It's, yeah, the judge isn't surprised, reporters aren't surprised. Nonetheless, we are annoyed, even if amused. When I last reported on the trial of Felarca and her comrades, Michael Williams and Porfirio Paz, I relayed that the date had been moved tentatively to September 23rd. The news, folks, is that it looks like there won't be a trial on September 23rd, or even in September, maybe. I've given a background to this trial in so many past videos that I don't think I'll do it again, lest I try thy patience, goodly folk, but if needed, see the links below to my video miniseries titled Regressive Left Terrorists vs. Civil Rights, the Sacramento Riot, in which I lay out at great length and in great detail, in fact it's been called autistically detailed, what actually happened that day. And see the link below to this webpage whereon I update this stuff. And this is just one of many web pages whereon I give updates in various areas of the culture war, all neatly categorized and in chronological order. So see the links below for everything, including links for our BitChute channel, which you should subscribe to before our channel on YouTube is deleted. Click that bell icon to be notified when we put out new videos. Also see the link to our Subscribe Star and donate to us for our hard work. We really need it. In fact, I need a new laptop. The one that I use right now, it's starting to crap out on me. The camera doesn't work, sometimes the headphones don't work, and sometimes I can't make videos anymore until it decides it's going to work. And if this one goes, it may take months before we can afford another one. So that means no videos for me. So please consider donating through our Subscribe Star. It's like Patreon without the far left bias. Thank you very much. Enough for that distasteful entree, and on with the main course. According to this new report by the Davis Vanguard, they were supposed to confirm the late September trial date on September 4th, but did not. 2 of the 3 defense lawyers said that they could not make the date due to schedule conflicts. The judge and district attorney were not exactly happy with this. The judge demanded a written motion. They were supposed to meet again on September 10th to set a trial date. I am recording this on September 11th, and much respect goes out to everyone who lost their lives and people who lost family members on that day. And as of now, I've not yet seen any reports on whether or not they did in fact meet yesterday and set a trial date, like they were supposed to. As the reports say, either later in September or possibly as late as November. But, you know, at this rate, I don't even think it will happen in 2019. I will, of course, keep you updated as much as possible. The Davis Vanguard reports, quote, "It may not be a record, but it's been a hell of a long time since a June 2016 riot at the state capitol between hundreds of anti-fascist protesters, who weren't actually anti-fascist, and neo-Nazi white supremacists, who actually were, left at least 7 anti-fascists stabbed and hospitalized, and a couple of right-wing participants with bloody wounds. Wednesday, after months of false starts and continuances, was supposed to be the day that the 3 anti-fascists finally confirmed a trial date for late September. Judges have been impatient, as well as supporters and defendants, over the past few months as the highly anticipated trial approached," unquote. Further down, they report that when the defense team told the judge that 2 of 3 of them couldn't make the trial date, quote, "The court balked and demanded a written motion. Deputy District Attorney Paris Coleman, who co-prosecuted the neo-Nazi defendant almost a year ago, also jumped to his feet to object to another delay. All parties agreed to recommence September 10th to discuss when the trial could take place, maybe later in September or as late as November. Unquote. Further down, they report, quote, months ago, Judge Roman seemed miffed at the length of delays. Quote, I don't want this to become another 16-year case, unquote, he said, commenting about a case that took 16 years to come to trial. Quote, I'm a little concerned this case is a little dated and causes me to pause, unquote, Roman said, unquote. Further down, they report that, quote, the decision didn't seem to surprise anyone, unquote. By now, folks, if you follow all these videos we do about this stuff, yeah, it's not a surprise at all. It's a bit of an understatement, but it bears stating nonetheless. Note that the defense still persists in their narrative, which seems to be satire in its lunacy, in which Felarca and her comrades are just continuing the fight against Nazis that was started back in World War II, and that they acted in defense, despite the fact that they planned an attack well ahead of time, traveled to the location to execute the attack, and the fact that their comrades were stabbed by people who were defending themselves against their attack, whom they greatly outnumbered, and they had weapons and all that. And they say that the police and district attorney are part of a white supremacist, Nazi fascist conspiracy that is part of a greater Nazi fascist white supremacist takeover by literally Hitler fascist Donald Trump. And that because Orange Man bad, and because Charlottesville and Nazis, and etc., the law and common sense should not apply in this trial of Felarca and her comrades.
Yeah, that's not how shit works.
That's not how that works.
It works.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. As the Davis Vanguard reports, quote, our clients' lawful protests against such despicable groups are to be lauded against those representing the Nazis. They're not using the word lauded correctly there. You don't laud against.
Yeah, they're not very smart.
Anyway, they continue, we fought a world war to end their white supremacy goals, unquote, she said, adding, quote, our clients are continuing in that struggle, unquote. Reichel, one of their attorneys, said that, quote, it should never be a felony or any crime to defend to defend yourself and others against fascists, so today is not a complete win for the white supremacists, unquote. Woodlands Williams, in particular, charged that, quote-unquote, they, law enforcement and prosecutors, are, quote, protecting the white supremacists. People who were stabbed, and no one who did the stabbing was prosecuted, unquote. Well, what about that guy? What's his name?
He doesn't count.
William Planner or whatever? He doesn't count? Why?
He doesn't count because that destroys their narrative. No one was ever prosecuted, baby.
Okay.
So no one can be prosecuted.
Orange Man bad, so thinking bad too. Alright, they continue. That's been an ongoing theme for the anti-fascists' defense since the defendants were charged in mid-2017, a year after the Capitol melee. Defense attorney Driver has charged the three defendants were the victims of a quote-unquote conspiracy.
There's a conspiracy out there. You hear what I'm saying? There's a conspiracy. A C-O-N conspiracy.
Good work framing Jussie Smollett.
Thank you, sir.
Next, good work framing Bill Cosby.
Thank you, your whiteness.
The agent assigned to frame Yvette Felarca and comrades. Things are held up in court. Why are you failing us?
It really wasn't my fault. They know about our conspiracy and they know that the police and the DA are in on it too. What can I do?
We are reassigning you to one of the concentration camps. Fire up the ovens.
See, I told you, man. There is a conspiracy out there. C-O-N
Yeah, right, I know.
conspiracy.
Defense attorney Driver has charged the three defendants were the victims of a quote-unquote conspiracy between the Sacramento County District Attorney and the CHP, the California Highway Patrol, against, quote, well-known civil rights activists.
They're communists. They're not civil rights activists. There's a big goddamn difference.
They're revolutionary Trotskyites, in fact, trying to stop the Donald Trump dictatorial movements from steamrolling civil rights in the U.S., they say, as they're talking about an incident in which their intent was to violate civil rights. They were there to stop people from exercising their right to peaceable assembly and freedom of speech. However reprehensible those people may be is neither here nor there. That's not how it works. Okay? It's supposed to protect all those people whose speech you detest and want to silence. Because your speech is something that someone else wants to silence. It protects everyone. That's how it works. This is common sense. It's a no-brainer. It's something that kids understand by the 2nd grade, alright?
Right.
Moving on, they say, quote, the CHP did nothing at the Capitol in 2016 to stop fascists armed and looking for a fight. Not one was arrested after the stabbings. That part's not true. The CHP instead focused on anti-fascists counter-demonstrators, unquote, said Driver. That's Shant the...
Rioters?
Yeah, the rioters. And that's a quote from Shant the Driver, the cult leader of BAMN, basically the cult leader over Yvette Felarca, and one of their 3 attorneys. Now, I want to say that it's fair and accurate to say that the police did allow that fight to happen. That's true. In fact, you could say that they made it happen. I mean, by their actions, they made it inevitable. Not to say that they are to blame, because everybody's responsible for their own actions. They are to blame for not doing their job, that's for sure. But the people who fought, you know. Some people actually, it wasn't self-defense. Look, reprehensible views, but still it is a fact that those guys were defending themselves, and there were 24 or so of them, a little less, against a few hundred. And a lot of those few hundred had weapons, and they were being charged at. So I don't know how the law works exactly in California. I don't really know, but the fact of the matter is, you know, if they didn't pull out knives or whatever they got, they probably would have been worse off than the people that they stabbed, really, I would imagine. But anyway, I'm not here to speculate on that. I'm just saying that the law applies universally or it's corrupt, all right? Again, see my detailed video miniseries that shows that that's in fact what happened. The cops sort of made this stuff happen with, well, you'll see if you scroll down and see the links below. Keep in mind this attack was before Trump's presidency, and that Felarca and comrades were arrested in 2017 when we read further down, quote, the arrests of Yvette Felarca, Porfirio Paz, and Michael Williams emboldened the fascists and fell weeks before Charlottesville and the murder of Heather Heyer, and there has been a surge of white racist violence. Protesting against Donald Trump and the violent fascists who have been emboldened by him to murder innocent people is not a crime. It is a necessity, unquote, said Cruz. In other words, let's all pretend that they did not commit crimes, because we all have Trump derangement syndrome. Right, Judge? Right, Judge, please? Orange men bad? Nazis? Judge? Charlottesville? Trump? No? Oh boy, we're in trouble. quote, the CHP considered it a crime simply for being at a protest against fascists, unquote, Cruz said. Quote, one CHP report recommends charging a protester of riot for holding a banner saying anti-fascism and coordinating hospital support for the people who were nearly killed by fascists, unquote. Right. It has nothing to do with a few hundred Antifa types, many with weapons, charging at about 24 or so Golden State skinheads. Sure, nothing to do with any of that. No, it was because he was holding a sign. Yeah. Lawful protest.
It's just legal
They
protest.
charged at them with weapons.
You guys rioted. There's no such thing as lawful rioting.
Yep, Orange Man bad. Him fascist. Scary Nazis everywhere. So to hell with the law. Right, Judge? Please? Judge? Charlottesville. Literally Hitler. Please, Judge? Trump bad?
World War?
Orange Man bad? World War II fighting Nazis? Please? No? Felarca was arrested in July of 2017. Since then, it has been one tactic after another by her attorneys to keep her from facing a jury. Throughout 2018, she tried to have the charges against her dismissed on the grounds that her prosecution was part of a quote-unquote political witch hunt.
Yeah, district attorney loved that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's helping you out there. That's not hurting you at all by
Freaking
saying the DA is...
Mongoloid. Don't poke the bear that's trying to eat you. That's not smart.
They're not very smart. Continuing, the first attempt to get a dismissal failed in May. Felarca's attorneys filed a second request for dismissal, which claimed the video showing Felarca punching a member of the Traditionalist Workers' Party might be doctored. Let's see that video now. That's so great. It's so cute. It's adorable. But, yeah, that guy's not Traditionalist Workers' Party, at least according to his own words. If you watch the video, the full-length video. In the beginning, he says that he was showing up because he was curious and wanted to see what it was about. But he was carrying a white power flag? Yeah, white power flag. Anyway, they continue. A judge was supposed to rule on the second request for dismissal on December 6th. While a reporter for Berkeley side was standing outside the courtroom, he overheard attorneys for Felarca and the 2 other Antifa members discussing plans to file a third request for dismissal and admitting they would get, quote, buried, unquote, in a trial. And the following bit here is a quote from a Berkeley side article. Quote, speaking among themselves outside the courtroom, the defense attorneys indicated they would file a new dismissal motion that argues the case violates due process because it is politically motivated. If they instead continued on the same path to a trial, quote, our bodies will get buried in that courtroom if you ask me, unquote, said attorney Linda Parisi to some of her colleagues and clients. I want to note here that Berkeley's side, as we've demonstrated in many past videos, is biased in favor of Antifa and BAMN and Yvette Felarca and so on, and they go along with that whole narrative that, you know, the people Antifa say are fascist are actually fascist, you know. It's as if they're some sort of news source, but they're really propaganda. So for them to say that it doesn't, you know, they're more or less saying it doesn't bode well for them, it really must not bode well for them then, you know. Hot Air continues further down, quote, how does 2022 look? I'm going to make a bold prediction. The start of the trial will be pushed off to November, and when that date arrives, the attorneys will they'll announce some new conflict or illness and seek another delay to drag this out until next year. The goal seems to be to wear the prosecution down until they are willing to accept lesser charges just to be rid of this case. I hope I'm wrong about all this, but given the track record thus far, I don't think so. But the prosecutors shouldn't give in. Here's your regular reminder that Yvette Felarca was caught on video punching someone who wound up on the ground being beaten by her fellow Antifa goons. She should face a jury for this sometime next year.
King Middle School teacher and anti-neo-Nazi protest organizer Yvette Felarca comes over, yelling profanities, telling him to get off the streets. He holds his hands up, she starts punching at his stomach, and then it gets ugly, with law enforcement intervening only after the man is down on the ground. Later that day, Yvette and other protesters celebrated on the steps of the Capitol. One was heard in this Periscope video saying,
see, what's been getting me is the fact the cops actually let us get to them. They've never done that in the past. They usually are accosting us before we even try.
Again, it is 9/11 as I record this, and so far no one has reported on whether or not they did in fact meet in court yesterday to set a trial date, but I will keep you posted. One more thing, on September 4th, the Daily Californian reported that Felarca petitioned to reverse the court order that she pay Troy Worden $11,000. Yes, she owes Troy Worden, former president of the Berkeley College Republicans, $11,000. And she owes Judicial Watch $20,000. And as we reported in our last video about Felarca, Yvette Felarca bleeds from her wallet. She has already made her first payment to Judicial Watch for $700. Again, more details on our webpage about this stuff. The future doesn't seem quite bright for this one, does it? She has a few swords of Damocles dangling over her, you know? She's
a lot of spunk, no brain. That's a problem.
She's like a spunky little Shih Tzu.
She's like a fucking chihuahua is what she's like, and I'm sorry, you're small and yappy without a brain. That's not gonna bode well for you forever.
Oh, as I've said in a previous report/video about this, the longer they drag this on, the more insane they are. But you can't punish Felarca because she's trying to save us all from the Nazi, Trump, fascist, white supremacist takeover that is going to happen any day now. Defense seems. Any day now. He's gonna wait till the last month of his first term, and then finally you'll see we're right. He's a Nazi fascist. You'll see.
He's gonna have internment camp.
Oh.
We fought wars. You fought nothing. You're communists, you idiots. Who fucking gonna invoke soldiers? Are you dumb?
So, Yvette Felarca lost to Troy Worden, and she has to pay up. She lost to Judicial Watch and she has to pay up. She lost her own school district. And in 2017, she was arrested for assaulting Kyle Chapman and Bay Stickman. There's that whole case. That's a whole other thing. And her own defense seems to think that in this case, she doesn't have much of a chance. Oh, what a loser. It seems that the future does not bode well for Felarca. Again, folks, see the links to our BitChute and our Subscribestar, and to the Felarca/BangMan update webpage, and our whole website entirely. Thank you very much, everyone. Liberty, strength, integrity, honor, honesty, good humor, justice, truth, and love. Say goodbye, Tabby.
Goodbye, Tabby.
She did it again. Poor Felarca.